Welcome to Amberg Acres. So we've been working the last couple days, 3-4 days on this wood splitter, this box wedge splitter that I made. And I beefed it all up and everything. I'm going to take you back and I'm going to show you what I did to it here in a moment. But we're going to get this running today and we're going to split some wood to show you how it works. And hopefully, I'm kind of done with wood this year for this year now. We split it with the other splitter if you watched our last video on firewood. But hopefully next fall we'll have this will be all straightened out and we'll be able to just start splitting with it right away. But we're going to show you it later on. We're going to show you how it actually splits. Let's go back and I will show you what I did to this splitter. We're out here in the shop today. It's pretty nice in here. I got the wood stove running outside and can work without my gloves on and everything. And I'm finally getting at this wood splitter here I told you I was going to get at. You remember the channel broke and everything on it. So I ground that all off. I got that all ground off on there. And so now I'm just tack welding this on right now. I'm going to weld that solid to the beam. But then I don't know what I'm going to use yet. I have some plate here that's like a 1/2 inch thick that I want to use for a strap. But I don't have a way to saw it right now. My saw is in storage yet. I don't have room in the garage here for all that stuff. So I'm not sure. I may try finding something else that to use instead of that plate, because I got to cut that plate. That plate's too big. But that's what I want to use, is something big and heavy like that, you know, so it ain't gonna tear like that channel. And I don't know. I gotta go look through my pile of scrap and see what I have. I don't know if I have another piece out there that'll work that I don't have to saw or cut as much of, I should say. So I'm just tacking this together. I put a couple tacks on here. Nope, I ain't gonna move that. There, that'll hold it now for a little bit, and I can flip it over and weld it flat. It's with the TIG welder. I can weld verticals with the TIG welder, but I don't feel like I'm burning it in as good as I can if I lay it flat. So I'm just going to flip this on its side then and do a heavier weld on it. So, all right, I'll be back in a minute. Got her flipped on the side now. And jack this up. I'm going to really try and burn it in a little better with the TIG here. Thing with this TIG is you can make beautiful welds with it, but I'm up at 200 amps and I just don't feel like it's burning in like it would be with my stick welder, you know. So I may run and get that. That's in storage also. I may run and get that just to finish when I weld the plates on there, just to finish this off. So I know I got some good heavy welds on there. But I mean, it makes a beautiful weld. It looks pretty as heck, but if it's not holding, when I looked at where did I set that piece down at? I don't know how well you can see that, but I mean, it looks like I had a halfway decent weld on there. It took quite a bit to grind these off of there, you know. I mean, it snapped. It snapped the metal, but it also broke some of the welds, which makes me feel like I'm not getting a good enough penetration with the TIG. But we'll keep trying. I'll flip this over and get the other side welded up, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing with the plates. So I did 3 passes in there. I ain't as steady as I used to be, or they'd look a lot better, but that's pretty strong weld there. 3 passes on there. You can see the metal melting away, so you know you're penetrating. But I'm gonna do whatever I can to make this not break again. All right, I found a couple of plates. Found some 3/4 inch stock here, and they were both the same size. I found a couple of pieces of thinner materials that I can shim. There's a 3/8 inch difference between this block on the end and the I-beam. So I'll put a shim under there like that and weld this one on there solid. And yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work pretty good. So I gotta get some grinding done here. I gotta get some of this paint off so it welds decent. And I gotta do a little grinding, and I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done grinding. So here's what that'll look like. One thing I learned over the years is you gotta get all that paint off. If you don't get that paint off of there, especially with the TIG welder, sometimes with the stick welder you can burn through it, but with the TIG welder, you got to get that paint off of there. It'll just bubble right up and wreck your weld. So you got to get that all cleaned up good, and so you got a good clean metal to weld to with that TIG welder. Well, I'm at the point where I'm going to say that ain't going anywhere, but I've been wrong before, so I don't know. We'll see. I got her burned in pretty good there. I really don't think that's going to break this time. Alright, getting ready to weld side 2 here. You can see the heat from the other side. I burned it in pretty good. So I'm thinking it'll be fine. You know how I like to talk about my tools. This tool right here, I bet you this is a good 40 years old. I bought this when I worked at the steel mill. This is a 4.5 inch Sears Craftsman. And I use this thing hard. I'm cutting, 6 inch long piece here, 1/4 inch thick. And this is what I'm using to cut it. And man, this thing has lasted the test of time. I tell you, I've replaced the cord, I think, at least once. It's already damaged here again. It's all taped up and whatever. Now I bought one from Menards in between here somewhere, maybe 5 years ago. That didn't even get through one project, It just burned up. They just don't make them like that. I've tried the cordless. I have a cordless one here. Batteries don't last 5 minutes with using a grinder like this when you're pushing hard. So I used a corded one. Now I just picked up a Milwaukee. I haven't used the Milwaukee much because this one is still working. But they don't make them like this anymore, I'm telling you. This thing has stood the test of time. 4.5 inch Sears Craftsman. I doubt that you can go to Sears. Well, I don't think they make Sears anymore. Sears ain't around anymore, but they still have the Craftsman brand. I think Ace Hardware carries the Craftsman brand. But I can guarantee you it's not going to be the same tool that I got right here in my hand. But anyhow, when I broke the splitter, I also did some damage to my pusher here. And I want to make that, I'm going to try and make it a little better than it was, basically, is what I'm going to do here. So tighten it up a little bit. It had a little bit of play to it, and when that log jammed up and whatever, it put a big gouge in the I-beam, so I'm going to try and beef this up a little bit and make this a little better. But we'll see if that actually works, I don't think that was any of the issue. I just think that when that thing jammed up and broke the whole thing, everything kind of went a different direction than it's supposed to, So we'll get this done. I'm almost done welding. I had to stop for the gun. My gun was getting so hot here I couldn't even touch it anymore. Welding at 200 amps, you know, it's so. So I'm trying to work on something else in between here. And I'll get back to finishing this weld up. And then we'll get her back together maybe tomorrow or by the weekend. It's supposed to be in the 40s again by the weekend, I guess. So I'll try getting it back together. Maybe I can split some wood this weekend with it yet. Well, all I can say now is if this tears off of there, it's junk. I might as well throw it away. It ain't gonna come off now anymore. It's welded pretty heavy. You can see how I burned in there, and it'll have to tear the I-beam this time. Alright, so I got that done. I put some different plates on here. Got to drill a couple of holes, and I'll get this thing back together and get her going by hopefully by the weekend. I'd like to put a little bit of paint on it, cover all this up, but we'll get her going. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but I took this can of paint when I started painting yesterday. My paint was real thick because it was cold sitting in these cabinets. Even though you got the heat on, the cabinets don't take forever to heat up inside, so the paint was cold. So it was real stiff to try and paint with. And so I took the can of paint and I put it in the tube coming in the garage here from that wood stove out there where the hot air comes through. And I didn't think nothing of it. I lit a fire this morning. I'm sitting here on my chair looking at some of my messages on my phone. And all of a sudden I hear this pop. And it's like, wow. What was that? Then it dawned on me, I put the can of paint up there in that tube. Yeah, it got so hot, you can see the steam. I don't know if you can see the steam, but it got so warm that it actually popped the lid right off. So, there's plenty of hot air coming in here. But like I say, it takes, you know, the cabinets and stuff, your tools are all frozen from overnight, so it takes a while for all that stuff to warm up. But the air coming in is plenty hot. That it got this so hot, you know. I mean, I can warm my hands on that. It's so warm already. Never thought that would happen. I got my components all painted here. The red painted really nice. It was nice and warm, nice and thin from putting it in that heater. But the black, I don't know, that was old paint, that black, and it was kind of lumpy yet. So maybe this summer, you know, I'll take it apart and clean it up a little bit and repaint the whole thing once I know everything works right and it's all good to go. Basically, the next step is get the tractor in here, reassemble it all, and get it to work. You know, the thing that sucks about getting old is I cannot see without my prescription glasses on. When I'm trying to get into fork channels, I just couldn't see it with just safety glasses on. So I had to get my prescription glasses on in order to see, to get in the channel there. Makes it tough. Can't go anywhere without them anymore. So we're gonna get this get this put back together, and we're gonna test it out today. We're supposed to be getting 2 inches of snow tonight, so I need to get it done today. First thing we're gonna do is get this cylinder on there. And now, the problem is, once you get up close, now I can't see nothing either because I need my other glasses on so I can see what I'm doing up close. All right, that end is in. Now the front gets attached to the pusher. All right, the pusher's on. So we're gonna hook it up to the hydraulics, and we're just gonna cycle it a couple times. The one thing I know I need to do is I need to get either longer hoses or add another maybe 2 feet onto the hose I have, like with a coupling, and add another 2-foot hose on there. It's this back hose is always short, so I gotta have it pushed all the way up against the tractor there to make that hose reach. And even when I flip it, if I flip it the other way, it's still tight. So I need to just get another extension so it makes it easier. Well, let's start this up and we're going to cycle this through. All right, that seems to work okay. We're going to gotta get the guides on, the brass guides, and then we'll put the pusher, the wedge on, and I gotta get these pieces out of here that are stuck in there, and then we'll flip it, or we'll get it outside, and we'll get a log on it. One of the things, or one of the mistakes I made when I made this box wedge, was I did not put enough clearance in here for when you're pushing the log through, that once it gets past the wedge itself, it has to open up a little bit so that thing can just push through. So you're only pressing against a little, an inch of material there. So I had to take my grinder and cut my welds out, and then I put a piece in here that raised the back side of this plate. So basically it's like this now. It opened it up, right? I only went 1/8 of an inch. That's all it really needs. It just needs to have some clearance so that once it splits and you're pushing, it's only pushing on about 1 inch or so of this front edge. And then it releases and it can come, kind of come out of there. So that's the one mistake I made when I made this wedge. So I fixed that now. And I think it'll work a lot better this way, the way it is. So we just got to get this thing put back on there. All right, there it is. I'll get that tightened up. One of the issues I have is when I drill those holes, I clamped them 2 plates together, and I drilled them as a set, so that my holes would line up. Don't ask me why, but they don't line up now, and I think it's got to do with the welding. The welding starts distorting the plate a little bit. I just got to get a wrench and kind of screw them in, and I'll get them tightened up. We'll get this outside and we'll give her a whirl once. All right, we're ready to go here. I got to go get my operator, but I wanted to show you. So the reason I broke it was because I put a log like this in there. Anything with these knots where there was a branch growing out of it, basically it's the Y of the tree, you know. Any piece like this, it's gnarly inside, and it's not going to work with this type of wedge. Now I don't know about the manufactured ones, the bought ones, but for this what I have for a capacity here, this is no good, you know. It's basically made, it's going to handle the nice straight pieces like this here, you know, where you don't have any knots or nothing in them. That's what it's going to handle. So I'm going to go get my operator, and we're going to run a few pieces through here so you can see that this thing actually works. You're seeing it here first, folks. This is a piece of oak. It's old. It's kind of punky already, but this is what we're going to test it out with just to make sure it works. A little slow, but in the end this saves us a lot of work from having to you know, pick the logs up and handle the wood 3-4 different times. This is going to save us a lot of work in the long run. Of this is that once we get this into production more, she can just pick up and move to this different section of the basket and just keep splitting without us having to move the wood or stack the wood. And she should be able to just fill this whole basket up without me doing anything except putting a log on there. Okay, so we just broke the puller, push, whatever you want to call this, in the top. Pull the logs back, no big deal. It's kind of the weak link, but it got caught on the forks here. Normally this would not be in this position. It would be out on the end of the forks more, so I'm not standing in between the forks, and that wouldn't happen. But I don't have, the hoses are too short, like I said earlier. But anyhow, before I end this video, I want to try one more. This is kind of what broke it the first time. But I want to see, because this is only a knot on one side, I want to see if I can at least split the bottom half of this log. She's going to go in. glove it, you don't want to push this part through, because that's gonna jam it up. So all in all, the splitter worked pretty good. We broke the arm on top, and that's my fault. I did not have the safety bolts in on the bottom because we were just testing it out, and it slid back a little bit, and when she opened it up, it hit that fork and it snapped the bolt off. No big deal. It's just a bolt. I can get a different bolt for it. But normally it would sit out further on the forks out here more. But like I said, I don't have long enough hoses. I got to go get some more of that stuff. We're an hour away from the store where I do most of my shopping for that type of stuff. We're an hour away from the nearest fleet and farm. So anyhow, all in all, it worked fine. I wish I would have had a couple of bigger rounds for you to see it actually split a couple down, but I didn't. It is what it is, you know. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You know, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And we'll catch you on the next one.